Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. This is Dr. Stephen Walker, licensed psychologist, broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is my mental health live stream where I come on twice a week, take questions, talk about different mental health related topics. If you are catching this on YouTube, again, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe and set your notifications so that you can be notified. I don't know what you thought of that graphic, but it took me a while to download. But anyway, so it's very important that you like and subscribe to the channel because YouTube will then put my mental health videos up higher, and then more people will get help and more people will begin to work on their issues. So again, thank you for joining me. Remember, these mental health live streams are to engage with the viewer, anybody who has something on their mind, anybody who's got something that's going on with them that they want to talk about. This is what these mental health live streams are for, okay? You've got to talk about your issues, okay? The whole idea of these is for you to work on. You like that, Penny, huh? You have no idea how long it took me just to find that. Should we try it again? Let's try it again. Here we go. Woohoo! But anyway, the point of the matter is, especially with YouTube, I don't think you guys realize, but I have to pay to advertise on YouTube and Facebook so that people can become aware of this channel. There's so much noise and static out there that the only way to get people to log on is if I advertise and promote the videos as mental health related and self-help related and psychology and all that. But anyway, let's get to today's topic. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about how to get comfortable in your skin. That's a lot of people say that. I'm so uncomfortable with myself. I'm so uncomfortable with how I feel. One of our viewers, Richard, he sent a long message here. I don't know, Richard, or if you're on, if you wanted me to read this. I think Richard he does some writing and rapping. A lot of it's really good. So, but Richard, if you're on, let me know if you want me to read that. It's got a little bit of profanity in it, but we're all adults. But anyway, let's talk about, first off, why I'm here. So these are live streams to help normalize conversations about mental health. I start with a topic, but then I take questions. And if somebody's struggling with something or wants some advice about something, we delineate and talk about that, because I don't really, when I started this, I didn't want to be, hey, Kat. Oh, hey, Kat, how are you? What's going on? You're out? Yeah, give us an update. Good to hear from you. So again, these live streams are about helping people to talk about what's on their mind, because we live, again, in a culture where people don't like talking about what they're feeling because we've been conditioned to believe that there's something wrong with having emotional pain and struggles, which is completely ludicrous, because everyone has emotional pain and struggle, and we need to talk about it more. Well, great, Kat, that you're back home. Why don't you feel free to fill us in a little bit on how things went, whatever you're feeling. I don't know, it was pretty quick in there. So hopefully you got stabilized and are ready to get back into the work. So let's talk a little bit about the whole idea of being comfortable in your skin. So, we hear that a lot. I'm not comfortable in my skin, or I need to get more comfortable in my skin. And we all kind of know what that means. That means that you just don't like being you. You don't like being in yourself. You're uncomfortable in social situations. You have unhealed, unworked on stuff that is causing you to either to feel insecure, or to doubt yourself, or to feel self-conscious, or to feel like everyone's looking at you, or whatever it may be. One of the main things that feeds discomfort in your skin is self-hate, is the idea that there's something wrong with you. Let's take an example of somebody who is struggling with self-esteem or self-image. They are going to not feel comfortable in themselves. They're going to feel, that self-conscious feeling, that feeling that everyone's watching me, or everyone is looking at me. So Kat's saying, She's counting to treat me along with normal doctor, and we've decided to be moving forward with removing Rhiannon permanently. Okay. Again, Kat, you got to keep working on it, because we're talking about integration. We're talking about Kat working on these alters in a way from Kat being the Kat, that you identify with is your ego. That is who you are. All these other alters are part of that fractured personality, or fractured ego that split off during those times of trauma. So whatever they're encouraging you to do, that's great. That's great. I would be curious to see how you feel about, and people who have never joined us before. Kat has DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, which is a disorder that's 9 times out of 10 trauma driven, and she's trying to manage all these different personalities in a way so that she can find some balance and homeostasis. So I would imagine Kat isn't very comfortable in her skin. Why? Because she's got these fractured parts of her personality that are constantly warring and constantly telling her a whole bunch of negative things. So Richard is saying, hey, Richard, glad to see you back, man. You've been gone for a while. Richard saying, just poetry, doc, for some of your flock. I'm part of your flock who thought about ending everything through culture shock. I like that. Shock is another one I'm going to do a live stream on, how we get something happens and we go into shock and then it affects us. So I'll read this real quick. I hope no one gets offended by it, because it is part of Richard's art and he's been a big supporter of the show he's on. We were talking about how to talk to each other, especially in this polarized political environment. So if I can get, this is from Richard, if I can ever get stronger, if I can ever quit crying, I'm give props to my mama and prove to my kids I ain't lying for real. I'm trying, but these meds ain't shit. Suicidal ideations can't. They hear what I'm spit. I'm not just throwing a fit. I'm not just seeking attention. I'm walking through hell with true righteous intentions. Nice. I feel like a bitch. These tears are for real. Man, I'm so broken. I want to eat all these pills. If I was stronger, if I wasn't so weak, I'd pull up with that banger and we'd both make news. Weak. These words that I speak ain't Hebrew or Greek, and I don't twist them. These fables or speak tongue in my cheek and up Shit's Creek, probably so you can miss me, because truth be told, freedom ain't free. That's good, man. And of course I mangled that horribly. If I was in a better mood, I'd spit some rhymes, but I'm a licensed psychologist and I got to be serious. So, but that was really good, Richard, you sharing that. So Kat is saying, and Richard, why don't you fill us in on how things are going with you and what your state of mind is like? I know you were, I don't know how the election affected you and all that. So why don't you let us know what your thoughts are? Kat is saying Rihanna was out in less than 60 seconds and add to new additions to my wrist, which is what we got admitted for. I'm nervous, but I'm trusting my doctor. She can't behave 60 seconds. She doesn't need to be allowed out. Yeah, I hear you. It sounds like Rhiannon, whichever alter that is not very friendly, is obviously, maybe Rhiannon is part of that really injured part of you that, was affected by that trauma. Maybe Rhiannon is little Kat. I don't know. But the fact is, remember, you are stronger than Rhiannon. Kat, you are the grounding. You are the hub of the wheel. Okay, those are all splinters. What are those called? Spokes that are coming into you. You are the hub of the wheel. So we're really hoping that you can get that ego strength built up, Kat, so that you can continue to heal, so that you can continue work on that trauma from your past. So Richard, what were you in the hospital for, man? I hope you're okay. Kat is saying, no, she's not. She's extremely suicidal, self-harming, and royal, yeah, I hear you. But Kat, maybe that's the part of you that needs the healing. So, I know it's painful, I know it's scary, but you got to keep working on that. And you got to follow the advice of whatever mental health person you're working with. And we're here to just, give you a sounding board and let you know you're not alone, because DID, dissociative identity disorder, is a very disconcerting. You talk about not being comfortable in your skin. That is one of the main things that's going to cause anyone to be uncomfortable in their skin, because they don't know at any point when they're going to, lose control, or when another personality is going to take over. So keep working on it. Let us know how things go. I'd be curious what you worked on when you were in that hospital, Kat. Why don't you let us know what you guys worked on and how that went? Richard's saying he spent a few weeks on MHU, so I don't know what that means. I'm guessing that's some hospital in nearby. But Richard, we hope you're okay. And Kat saying she's not an essential personality. Those are Amity and Runa. Gotcha. Okay. Well, Kat, I don't know if you do any writing, but it might be interesting to write down some of this as it's happening. Rhiannon is the cutter, Kat is the queen. Nice. Send Rhiannon packing. Yeah. And what Samantha's doing is what we've talked about on here, Kat, is trying to build up ego strength, trying to build up the ability to know that you can handle this, that you can work through this. When Kat is in control, being able to know that Kat is in control. So again, everybody, if you're catching this for the first time, if you're catching this, whatever, please ask a question. Please make a comment. If you're struggling with something, please engage with me, because that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this just to be another talking head on a podcast. That's why I don't call it a podcast. I called it a live stream, because I'm only on live. Okay. I'm only on live to engage with you guys and to talk about your mental health. So let's get back a little bit to the original topic, which is how to be comfortable in your skin. So one of the main things that is going to prevent people from being comfortable in your skin is unworked on crap in your mind, man. I mean, the bottom line is people who aren't comfortable in their skin know that they have issues that aren't working on them. They're not dealing with things that are causing them anxiety or fear. Okay. So Kat's saying we worked on identifying if Rhiannon is essential or not. We temporarily immobilize her again, but it's not permanent. Okay, that's great. How did you guys immobilize her? I'd be interested to know that. Still don't trust libs or far right. Good. Well, I hear you, brother. I mean, a lot of the far right left is, pretty far left, and a lot of the far right, as we saw in the Capitol, is pretty far right. So, I consider myself a Demopublican. I have a website called demopublicans.org. I like to have beliefs on liberal and Republican. And I do lean more liberal because I do believe we should be helping more. I do feel there's a role for government to help people, to make people's lives better. Unfortunately, it doesn't always boil down to that. But Richard, I would encourage you to work not making black or white statements like, I don't trust libs, because that means that you don't trust any liberals, but you do trust people on the right, but you don't trust people on the far right. Brother, I would encourage you, if you have any ability to hang out with a liberal or talk to a liberal, that you try to give that a shot and find out, where they are, because that is going to affect the what we're doing in this country. Is we're polarizing more and more, and we're not engaging with each other. We're not trying to find common ground. We're not trying to find out what is happening with people, what is going on. Why are you a far right? Why do you believe that 7 million people voted illegally and that the election was stolen? Why do you believe that? What proof do you have of that? Why are you on the left thinking that socialism or whatever far left program you don't agree with? Why do you believe that that's what you find out, Richard? Like we talked about, like you and I talked in my interview, just engaging with each other from a position of trying to get to know each other, because liberals ain't going nowhere and Republicans ain't going nowhere. And as long as we're hating each other, I mean, if you take what's going on with Kat, it's a similar situation. You've got all these personalities within her vying for control, fighting each other, wanting to eliminate each other. So what happens to Kat? She deals with all the collateral damage of that. And that's what potentially could happen in this country if we don't learn how to communicate with each other. Samantha saying, I take it that Richard meant far left and far right. I could be wrong. Maybe, hopefully that's what he meant. Richard, for those of you who don't know him, was a Obama supporter and then switched to Donald Trump. So Richard definitely has, political views that swing back and forth, which is great, which I think is great, because it's when you dig in and you don't want to be, I don't want to be this and I don't want to be that, then everything becomes fulfilling that ego identity to the exclusion of everything else. Okay. So Kat's saying they brought Rhiannon out in a controlled environment. Beautiful. I spoke to her to see if we can find out more of her triggers that brings her out so I can avoid them so she doesn't get an attempt to come out. Awesome. That's great, Kat. That's great. So when you were hypnotized, they brought her out and you were then able to engage with her in a lucid state. Excuse me, that's vodka, by the way. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, talk to us about that, Kat. How did that go? What was that like? Is that the first time you've done that? A lot of people may never have engaged with somebody with dissociative identity disorder. There are a lot of people who believe it's, not a real disorder, which is ludicrous. But yeah, I would fill us in a little bit on it. What's it like when you're in that state, when you're in that out of control state? No, they engage with her and I remembered nothing. Okay. So Kat, as we're talking here, just remember, I don't want to do anything that's going to trigger or cause any kind of negative event with you. Remember, as a mental health professional, we carry a lot of responsibility for doing no harm. So I don't want to put you in a position, Kat, where we're flooding you or making you feel like you have to do anything. So you go at your own speed. Okay. Richard's saying, look, man, my in-laws hung with wavy gravy. And I told you before, I blame Obama and Biden. I feel you. I mean, and who do we blame before that, man? I mean, what administration do we blame before that? I feel you. Richard. Richard's saying for vast surveillance and unconstitutional FISA abuses and ECT. Well, again, the Patriot Act, we got to look at, and I don't know how far we want to get into that, debating, but, every administration is guilty of their own thing. So I feel you, Richard. And maybe my, hope is that we can look forward, instead of looking back to what happened in the past of things we can't control. Now that's different than working on a psychological level, because we do need to look back. Like with Kat, for instance, we need to look back at Kat needs to start at some point in a controlled, not tonight, but in a way, working on the trauma that caused her personalities to splinter off like that. So Diego's saying, what kind of vodka? Good evening, Dr. Warger. Yeah, I don't drink, bro. I 55 years old, man. I went to Penn State and, I partied enough there when back in my 20s. So I don't really even drink anymore. No, man. But how you doing, Diego? How are things with you, man? How goes the treatment? Did you find a provider? Are you working on some of those issues? What's going on with you, man? So Kat's saying, not me to engage yet because some memories and things that they blacked out that I'm not ready to face yet. Yeah. Well, see, Kat, that's what I would encourage you to start telling yourself, sister. I would definitely encourage you to start slowly telling yourself, I can face that. At some point in the future, I can face that. Part of when I'm working with somebody with exposure therapy is I don't just, throw them into the pool. We prep, we do mental preparation by saying, look, this is what we're going to start facing. We're going to start working on this at some point so that you can become more acclimated to those memories when they surface. Because if you keep telling yourself over and over, I'm not ready to face it. I'm not ready to face it. I'm not ready to face it. You're telling yourself you're basically creating, a sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy where you just stay in that state of mind of not being ready to face it. So what I would encourage you to do is say to yourself, I'm not ready to face it yet, like you said, but at some point I will be. At some point, I will be able to face it. At some point, I will be able to handle that. Now, remember, Kat, I'm not saying to do any of this on your own. I'm not saying to do this tonight. All I'm saying to you is we've got to be aware of what we're telling ourselves. So getting back to the topic of how to get comfortable in your skin, one of the main things that has people uncomfortable in their skin is what they're telling themselves about being in their skin, how they're feeling about themselves in their skin. Being comfortable in your skin isn't just, oh, I'm going to be comfortable in my skin when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling comfortable. And I know it sounds paradoxical, but there's this thing in psychology called paradoxical intention. But you've got to learn to be comfortable with not being comfortable. Hey, all right, Richard. Okay, well, take it easy, man. And listen, man, remember, Richard, just try to balance out some of that polarized stuff, because you know what I'm saying, man. That one way or the other is not the way we're going to find unity in this country. There's no eliminating the left. There's no eliminating the right. We got to learn how to balance it out. Unfortunately, things like racism and white nationalism and all of that is difficult to integrate for people on the left. But I'm not saying you're a racist. So I'm just saying that what happened at the Capitol. That's a whole another debate. But anyway, Richard, thanks for logging on, man. And let me know if you ever want to come on and we'll debate some stuff. So getting comfortable in your skin, part of being comfortable in your skin, people, is being uncomfortable. I mean, being comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes, is not hating being uncomfortable, not getting into that state of mind where you expect to feel perfect in order to feel comfortable in your skin. Many people who talk about having a comfort in their skin is they've learned to be comfortable with their insecurities. They've worked on the source of a lot of their insecurities. So that comfort comes from not being at odds with how they're feeling, whether that's positive or negative. The idea of comfortable in your skin implies on a surface level that you're always going to be comfortable. You're always going to feel comfortable. And that's just ridiculous. Like I talked before, that's about the social media mental health as opposed to real mental health. Social media mental health is all about eliminate the negative, live your best self, don't surround yourself with negative people. Have you ever thought about that you see that filter around the on memes or whatever? Surround yourself with only people who will lift you up. I think Oprah is famous for saying that. Well, what if you're one of those people who doesn't lift other people up? Should you just be banished? Should people just shun you? I mean, this idea that you can eliminate negativity is exactly why you feel out of balance, is exactly why you're not going to be comfortable in your own skin if you're expecting to only be comfortable in your skin when you're feeling comfortable, when you're feeling like you're at peace with yourself. Hey, Janie, how are you? Good to see you. Great. Just listen. You're probably exhausted. Janie is on the front lines of the fake pandemic joke, every day dealing with in the healthcare system, which is a whole nother conversation about, this idea of I call it pathological individualism. So pathological individualism is this idea that I'm going to be an individual on a level, and I'm not going to care how I affect you. I'm not going to care. I have no responsibility for my fellow American. And my only role or my only goal in life is to be an individual. America. And I'm going to have my civil liberties, and I'm not going to be told to wear a mask. Well, why don't you talk to Janie about how that affects her? Why don't you talk to the healthcare workers who are working 12, 14, 16 hours a day? Why don't you then, if you're going to be a pathological individualist, why don't you write on your chest, please do not treat me when I'm in the ICU? Because you can't have it both ways, people. If you're going to be that extreme on your individualism, then don't expect to go into a hospital and get treated. Because if you're not going to care who you're infecting, anyway, I digress, because I have a lot of empathy for Janie, and I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are in the medical field, and what they're going through is just, anyway, I don't know. Why do countries like, I don't know, Hong Kong, well, that's a city, but a lot of Asian countries, they're low, they're almost non-existent. Why? There's certain times when we need to do what we're told, people. A pandemic might just be one of them. Okay. Samantha saying, I have a friend who tells me that they are not good company. I hate that they think that way. Yeah, well, Samantha, I would probably say that whoever's saying that, it means they don't feel that they're good company with themselves. You guys have heard this for months now. I've been talking about your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you should have. Good night, Sam. Thanks for logging on. Your relationship with you is absolutely the most important relationship you should have. That is the root of discomfort in your skin, hating yourself, how you feel about you, what you're telling yourself about you is one of the main reasons for discomfort in your skin. Okay? That is one of the main things, that will keep you uncomfortable in your skin. No other point. People who are comfortable with themselves are at peace with themselves. They're at peace with how they look. They're at peace with how they feel. They've worked on underlying trauma, underlying pain that has caused them to feel uncomfortable. Kat saying they wanted to keep me longer, but because I can't be in a regular ward, I need a private room. So for my immune system, they had to release me because I'm not suicidal and the hospitals have no room. Well, okay, Kat, now you got to jump back into the work, sister. I would imagine you're on some sort of Medicare or Medicaid or some sort of disability. Keep getting more and more providers on your team. You need to be working on this. If you find a licensed hypnotherapist, if you feel that was helpful, but Kat, don't give up hope. Don't give up the idea that you can heal, Kat. Okay, don't give up on the feeling that you can heal. One of the things that will definitely keep people locked in a cycle of more and more negativity is hopelessness, is feeling as though there's no hope, there's no point, nothing will ever help me. Please, guys, if you're watching this, share this on your timeline so we can pull some more people in, because we need to have conversations about mental health. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Thanks for logging in. Please ask a question or make a comment. We're talking about how to be more comfortable in your skin, but I'm also taking questions live. I'm engaging with people because that's why I don't call this a podcast. I call this a live stream, because the live stream is the idea that I want feedback. I want people to engage with me about what is going on with them so that they can talk things out. Keeping it in is the reason a lot of people are also uncomfortable in their skin. They keep pains in, they keep traumas in, they keep anger that they have at people in, and the next thing you know, they're feeling uncomfortable in their skin. And let's break that down a little bit. So what would comfort in your skin feel like, if anybody wants to answer that? If you were comfortable in your skin, what would that feel like? What would that be like? Okay. Kat saying, I'm not. My doctor works with one. He's treated me before. He will see me again. My normal doctor will continue to treat me, and I'm not seeing his coworker. I've up quite a bit with her. I've told her things I've not told him. Yes. Keep opening up, Kat. I know this is going to sound kind of, again, paradoxical, but you got to start getting comfortable with the trauma. Remember, Kat, you did not ask for the trauma. You did not ask for these issues. Excuse me. You did not ask to have these problems. One of the things that people who struggle with addiction or any kind of mental illness is they hate that they have mental illness. They hate that they're like this. They hate that they're mentally ill, that they have these pains or these issues from their past. Yeah, I know what you meant, Kat. And that will breed discomfort in your skin. So when I asked you guys what is being comfortable in your skin feels like, what I feel when I'm comfortable in my skin is a diminishing of worry about judgment, being judged or being put down. And as I've talked about on this live stream before, I went through, hey, Ali, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Looking forward to working, Ali. Great. One of the things I've talked about is some of the abuse I went through as a kid, emotional, psychological, and how that affected me to a point when I was younger where I wouldn't even talk about it. I wouldn't even acknowledge it. I wouldn't even acknowledge my mixed ethnicity. Why? Because I was uncomfortable in my skin. I was uncomfortable with who I am. I was uncomfortable with what I'd been through. Okay. Comfortable in your skin is a feeling that you are okay with who you are. And I don't mean just your positive. I mean your negative too. So Kat's saying he was right. I lack trust in men and never opened up. Well, again, Kat, you lack trust in men because someone from my gender, a bad representation of somebody from my gender, caused you an immense amount of psychological, emotional, probably physical pain. So of course you're going to have trouble trusting men. Okay. But Kat, my challenge to you is to allow for the possibility that you can trust men again. Allow for the possibility that you can be comfortable in your skin around men as you heal more and more. Because if you're not, if you make a blanket statement like I will never be comfortable around men again, now you're playing psychic. Now you're believing you know the future. You're prognosticating negatively into the future. And none of us are psychic. If there's anyone out there who's psychic and knows the future, and you did not hook me up with those lotto numbers last week, I'm banning you from this page, okay? And I'm joking, but the point is no one's psychic. If you tell yourself, I'm never going to get comfortable in my skin, I'm never going to be able to be at peace with who I am, I'm never, then you're going to manifest that strictly out of what I call a psychic fallacy, meaning you're lying to yourself, telling yourself you're psychic, that you're never going to ever be able to work on or heal, which is just ridiculous. Now, in situations like with Kat's challenge, she's got a heaping dose of emotional trauma from her past. But it still can heal to a degree, Kat. It can still heal to a degree. Okay. She's saying, I need a female doctor. Cool. You got to do what you got to do in the beginning here, Kat. Ali is saying, Dr. Serum, but I have this big pimple on my nose, right? How can I love that about me? I see it and I am disgusted by it and view myself as less attractive. How do you love what you hate? Well, Ali, that's a great question. I don't know if you're being serious or if you're joking, but I'll just go with the fact that you're being serious about the pimple on your nose. Is it something that you can have removed? Is it something that you can learn to accept about yourself? I'm certainly no, physically perfect individual, but you learn to accept certain aspects of yourself as a way to be at peace with who you are. I mean, if the pimple is that big, and you feel that you're unattractive because of that, then you got to work on that. Hey, Josie, how are you? You've got to work on not hating it. Hating it. Remember, there are three choices when it comes to emotions. Okay, there's love, hate, and neutral. All right, you access the neutral by learning how to accept aspects of yourself that you either cannot change or you're not willing to change. And yes, Ali, I do believe that the more you hate it, it's almost like you are signaling out to the world, hey, look at this pimple. I hate this pimple. I hate that I'm like this. Ali's saying I'm worth acne meds. Great. Medication. Beautiful. Beautiful. So Ali, I don't know if you've seen a dermatologist or if you've had, somebody do a consult on lancing it or what do they do when they cauterize it or whatever. So, but Ali, remember, the pimple is a manifestation of what's going on inside of you, meaning that the pimple is showing you, damn, I hate myself because of a pimple. So suppose I lost my arm. Suppose I lost my, my nose. Okay. Thanks, Josie. I appreciate. Please share this. Okay, guys. Remember, there's nothing wrong with working on our mental health. So Diego's saying, Doctor, I had a big ass revelation the other night. I was buzzed. I had some drinks and I was sitting on my couch. I was scared to ask myself, but I still asked myself, am I happy with myself? Beautiful, man. I couldn't hold back and I answered no to myself, but I wasn't afraid. I felt a different emotion and looked forward to get to know myself. Beautiful. This was different because I had no control of my thoughts and emotions. Beautiful, Diego. Thanks for sharing that, man. So what I would ask you is this, brother, when you say, I'm really happy with myself and the answer is no, you're telling me that there's nothing you're happy with about yourself? You're telling me that there's absolutely no part of who you are, that you're happy with? There's got to be things you like about yourself, Diego. I don't know, man. How about your friggin' service to this country? You're not happy with that? I'm happy with that, dude. I'm grateful that you did that. What about being a police officer? You're not happy with that? You got to try. Part of what helps being comfortable in your skin, people, is when you try to unpolarize how you feel. You don't have to either be happy with yourself or unhappy with yourself. Those are ends of the spectrum. Just like when I said before, how to get comfortable in your skin. It's not only about being comfortable in your skin when you're comfortable. It's not only being comfortable in your skin about things that you're comfortable about. There are things in all of us that we need to keep working on and we need to keep integrating into us. Kat saying, Ali, I used to hate myself for being overweight, but I released it. It's not my fault. It's a medical condition. Hating myself won't fix anything. It makes your mental health worse. Exactly, Kat. Thank you. Wow. Now Kat's trying to help other people. Exactly. Hating yourself fuels negative emotion. Okay? Hate fuels negative emotion. In this hand, I have negative emotion. In this hand, I have hate. Both negative. Keep adding hate to that negative emotion. It's going to grow and grow and grow. Now, I'm not saying to love it, but remember the third option is neutrality. And it's not easy, people, to get into a neutral place with things you've hated about yourself for years. It takes work. None of this is going to be one live stream or one book. You have to work on what is making you uncomfortable. There are things, you're right. Exactly, Diego. There are things you like about yourself, bro. So I would ask you this, Diego. Think of it like this on a scale of 0 to 100. Where do you fall in? Well, what's the percentage of things you like or don't like? Look at it as a scale, degrees. Okay? Part of being comfortable in your skin is understanding that sometimes you're not going to feel comfortable. You're not going to feel good. Please do not imbue me or give me any of this superhuman thing that I don't get pissed. I don't have arguments with my wife. I'm not always the perfect parent. I would never hit my kid. We decided we're not going to do that. But sometimes I raise my voice too much. There's negativity embedded in everything that we do. There's positivity embedded in everything we do. And there's neutrality embedded in everything we do. The key to being comfortable in your skin is allowing those three energies to exist within you. But what do we hear in this good old American culture? Eliminate the negative. Eliminate it, man. If I could just get rid of them damn libtards, if I can just get rid of those damn Republicans, everything would be great. Okay, people, let's see how that's going to work. No. And then we do that to ourselves because we live in this pain-killing society. We live in this idea that we can kill the pain. We can numb it out. We can get rid of it. And the alcohol companies and the pharmaceutical companies are like, oh, you want pain? Yeah, we can kill the pain. Come on, yeah. All right? We need to accept that pain is part of healing. Negativity, positivity, and nutrition is part of getting comfortable in your skin, being able to accept those aspects of yourself. Okay? Kat is saying hating yourself for something that's out of your control will only drive you insane. It starts a horrible cycle that you won't want to get caught in. I speak from experience. Exactly, Kat. And sister, since you're giving advice out, which is beautiful, which is thankful, you need to stop hating your trauma. Remember, Kat, you were the victim of the trauma. You did not ask for the trauma. Now, am I saying, Kat, let's start loving that you were traumatized? Of course not. Of course, I'm not saying to love your trauma. But that's the work, Kat, is accepting the trauma, accepting that it happened. Not saying, oh, it's so great, I was traumatized, but accepting that it's okay. Not going to say it's okay that you're traumatized, of course, but it's okay that the trauma is still affecting you and not hating that you were traumatized. Okay? I'm not talking about loving your enemy and loving your abuser. I'm not going in there. That's a whole nother conversation about forgiveness. But Kat's absolutely right. Kat, let's work on toning down how much you're hating yourself for something that's out of your control, which is what happened to you with your brother. Exactly. and hating the altars and hating the DID. Okay. I'm not saying I guess I'm assuming you are. So, yeah, Jane, exactly. To Diego, thank you for your service, bro. So yeah, Diego, you got to scale that stuff out, dude. You got to stop telling yourself the idea that you're trying to fit into, excuse me, a black or white representation of who you are. That this idea that that you don't like who you are as a whole. Now, if you don't like who you are as a whole, then that's the starting point. But the alcohol, brother, is your medication with all of that. You know that. You don't need me to tell you that. The alcohol is how you're medicating yourself so that you don't deal with how you're feeling. And you got to deal with how you feel, people. Okay, you got to. And you got to work on it. And if you want to get comfortable in your skin, it's not going to happen as long as you're not facing what you're uncomfortable in your skin about. If you're not working on what you're uncomfortable in your skin about, how the hell are you going to get comfortable in your skin? Okay? Kat saying, I've forgiven him to an extent, but I can't say I'll forgive him. I'll fully forgive him, but I'll never forget and trust him again. I hear you. I hear you. And I'm not saying you have to forgive him. I mean, forgiveness is a relative term. I mean, there's a gentleman that's come on my live stream before. His name is Dr. Nick Fortino. He interviewed a gentleman that I would love to come on and just engage with somebody like you, Kat, about forgiveness. He wrote forgive for good, I think it's called. But it's yeah, it talks about the mechanics of forgiveness. But Kat, sister, we got to help you work on forgiving you for what you're struggling with. I don't know what level, I don't know what kind of relationship you have with yourself. And I mean you, Kat. I don't mean the splintered altars. I mean you. Remember, Kat, you're the hub of the wheel, sister. You are you're keeping it all together. None of those altars are ever you have to believe they're never, ever going to be able to fully take me over. They can't. They know that because you are the hub of the wheel. They're not going to be able to take over. But again, Kat, remember, these are incremental steps we need to work on. Ali's saying, when you say deal with it, do you mean sitting alone by yourself, and even though you feel pain, you still go through that you will heal, go through and through that you will heal? So when you say deal with it, do you mean sitting alone by yourself, and even though you feel pain, you still go through and through what you feel to an extent? Okay, Ali, to an extent. All right. We're going to get into this a little bit more, you and I, but when I say deal with it, I mean has to deal with what that pimple or what that imperfection on your face is stirring up in you. You know, I work with a lady when I was in Oregon who had a pretty significant accident to her face that caused her to be, to have scars, and we work through a lot of that. You have to work on what those feelings are stirring up in you. Okay, you've got to work on that, because the pimple is just the pimple isn't really creating your self-hate, Ali, your uncomfortableness. The pimple is just kind of uncovering that. So I don't know what I know nothing about you, my brother, but I don't know how you grew up. I don't know what Ali dealt with as a kid. I don't know what level of perfection people were expecting you to be in. So I don't really know, Ali, but what I do know is, generally speaking, if you're hating yourself specifically because of a physical deformity that on your level is a pimple, then yeah, bro, that's probably indicative of something else going on within you. Okay, that's definitely probably something that's going on within you and that's what I mean by deal with it. So I've talked about how when I was growing up, my mixed ethnicity was told I was wrong. I didn't have, I'm looking at my black grandfather and being told he's not black. I mean, imagine that. So for years and years and years, I had this ethnicity that I had no idea what to deal with. So I was uncomfortable with that. People would walk up to me and say, what are you? Or do you have black? And I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Now it's just the opposite. I've worked through a lot of that. I'm very proud of my mixed ethnicity. So yeah, that's what I mean by dealing with it, Ollie. We have to deal with what that pimple is causing you to feel about yourself. Okay. Let's see here. Kat is saying, I've learned a technique where I write down everything I hate and about myself, and I can either burn it or place it in a holy object and let it go. Great. But Kat, I would just say to you, it's really not that easy a lot of times, because a lot of those things we hate about ourselves are ingrained in us and need to be worked through. They need to be talked out. But those are great exercises, absolutely, because it reminds you that maybe I can heal some of this self-hate. Okay. So remember, everybody who's watching this or catching it after the fact, being comfortable in your skin is about being comfortable with being uncomfortable in the beginning, not hating those negative emotions, being okay with that negative part of you that is causing the uncomfortable. How do you get to that uncomfortableness? By talking out and working on it, dealing with what is causing you to feel uncomfortable with yourself. And you got to work on it. Shopping, alcohol, pills, TV, whatever it may be, is never going to get you to a place of comfort, because you're ignoring the negative. You're buying into the idea that negativity by definition is something to eliminate, something not to dwell on. Don't dwell on the negative. And there's truth to that, but you got to dwell on it to a degree in a therapeutic way to work it through and realize that you can assimilate that into you. Being comfortable in your skin is not going to happen from one live stream or one podcast or whatever. It takes work, especially if you're uncomfortable in your skin. So I'll default to my constant message on this channel, the It's Okay pill. Okay? It's okay that I'm not comfortable in my skin. It's okay that I'm struggling with this at 4, 14, 40, or 400 years old, whatever it is. It's okay, because if you're hating yourself for not being comfortable in your skin, guess what, people? That ain't going to happen. So if you're catching this on YouTube after I post it, please check out some of the other videos. I got tons of content up there. What I'm trying to do is get more viewers so that YouTube will put our videos up higher and more people will realize there's nothing wrong with your mental health, okay? If you're on YouTube, if you don't have an account, get an account, subscribe, do your notifications so you know when I'm live. Like that? Anyway, I didn't make that. I stole that. But anyway, please share the channel. You can check out my website. I'm on every Tuesday and Thursday at these times, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. West Coast. And it's all about, the whole goal of this is to normalize conversations about mental illness, talking it out in an environment where you can deal with how you feel, okay? Ali's saying, well, I know what the pimple brings up. It brings up my insecurities, and I think I wasn't enough for past relationships and heartbreak. BINGO, my brother. Bingo. Exactly what I said before. Exactly. The pimple is not causing you to feel it. Well, it's not exclusively causing you to feel anything. The pimple is revealing this stuff inside of you, okay? All right? So Kat is saying, I'm not a doctor, and speaking from personal experience and suffering from my own severe mental trauma, I love to support people, but I can't give advice or diagnose. I'm just here to, absolutely, Kat, that's why we're here too. I'm just here to help people vent and talk about how they're feeling and show people it's okay to open up and reach out for help. Exactly. And don't forget to reach in for help too. Reach in for help. Okay, Kat? You're the hub of the wheel, sister. Your ego strength is slowly growing. You're going to come a day when that altar appears and you're going to be like, F you. No. Okay? We're not there yet, but keep working on it. Janie saying, I've been looking forward to a drink daily after work and I feel invisible. Yeah, I feel you, sister. I do. Sometimes that drink will just help level out some of that trauma and some of the things that, I know you're trying, Kat. I appreciate that. We appreciate that you're trying. I know, Janie, that, I hear you. And I'm not going to judge you for having a drink a day, sister. I'm surprised it's only one with everything you're going through and some of the stuff you talked about, your dad passing away and some of the past relationship stuff and the abuse. And so, remember, Janie has to work on her relationship with Janie. Okay. Janie has to work on her relationship with herself. Okay. You got to, Janie. You got to keep pushing it. Keep giving yourself credit for trying to help people heal the way you do. All right. Okay, people. I'll see you Thursday night. Anyone has any ideas or anybody wants to come on and chat about what they're going through, and we can, do some, give people an idea of what mental health people do. Feel free to shoot me a text. You can text. I can't take any phone calls on this line. It's only a texting number, but it comes straight to my phone. So if you want to text me on this line, feel free. And we will pick up on Thursday. Again, just to recap, to be comfortable in your skin takes work. It's not something that is going to just come magically from reading a book or listening to a podcast or denying your negativity. It's not. It takes work. Okay. So Kat's saying, I just don't want to see others suffer in silence as I have. Beautiful, Kat. Great, Kat. Well, thank you. So I'll see you again Thursday night. 9 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. 9 p.m. East Coast, 8 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. West Coast. All right. Please share this. Please tell people about it. And remember, I'm here as long as people log on live, because I do not want to just be another talking head on YouTube, just strictly wanting views and all that. I want to engage with people and normalize conversations about mental health. You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you. And again, remember, if you're on YouTube or whatever, please subscribe. All you have to do is hit this button. When you do that and hit your notifications, you'll know when I go live, okay? All right, guys, take it easy. Shoot me some messages. You're welcome. I'll try to be here. You don't know the future. Exactly, Kat. You don't know that there could be also healing in your future. So keep working on it. Let me know if anybody has any issues. They can shoot me a text or give me a call, and we'll work on it. See you again Thursday night. Peace out.